On a quiet winter afternoon in a small Australian town, four people sat down for a home-cooked meal. Within days, 3 were dead, and one woman, the hostess, stood accused of poisoning them with one of the most lethal toxins known to man. Her name: Erin Patterson. Her alleged weapon: mushrooms. What unfolded next would become one of the most chilling murder investigations in Australian history. Was this a tragic accident? Or a calculated family massacre disguised as dinner? Erin Patterson was, by most accounts, an ordinary woman. A 49-year-old mother of 2, living in the rural town of Leongatha, Victoria. She was once married to Simon Patterson, and though their relationship had broken down, they remained in each other's orbit, co-parenting, sharing mutual family connections. Described by some as intelligent but introverted, Erin rarely made waves in the community. But behind the quiet demeanor, cracks had begun to form. Her relationship with Simon had soured long before the fateful lunch. They'd separated after years of tension, and according to Simon, there was something dark lurking beneath her composed exterior. In a shocking court revelation, Simon told investigators that Erin once lied to him about having terminal cancer to manipulate him into returning to the relationship. "She told me she had cancer," he said, then admitted it wasn't true. "She used it to lure me in." If Simon had accepted her invitation to that July lunch, he might not be alive today. The guests at Erin's home that day were not strangers. They were family. Don and Gail Patterson, Simon's parents. Heather Wilkinson, Gail's sister. Ian Wilkinson, Heather's husband and a local pastor. They were respected, kind-hearted community members. Gail and Don were longtime residents of the area, described by neighbors as generous and warm. Heather and Ian were deeply involved in their church. Ian, a much-loved pastor, was known for his compassion and service. Their families would later speak of the unbearable pain of losing not just one, but 3 beloved elders, after a simple lunch. "They were the kindest people you could ever meet," said one friend. "They didn't deserve this." It happened on July 29, 2023. Erin invited her former in-laws over for lunch. On the menu, beef Wellington, a rich, savory dish, stuffed with mushrooms. According to Erin, she had bought the mushrooms from an Asian grocery store. But what investigators found was something far more sinister. Just hours after the meal, all 4 guests began experiencing violent symptoms: nausea, vomiting, stomach cramps. They were rushed to the hospital, where doctors quickly suspected death cap mushroom poisoning, a rare but deadly toxin that causes irreversible liver damage. By August 4th, Gail and Don were dead. Heather followed soon after. Only Ian survived, after undergoing an emergency liver transplant. He spent weeks in a coma and continues to recover slowly. Erin. She claimed she also ate the meal, but her symptoms were suspiciously mild. Too mild, according to doctors. As grieving families laid their loved ones to rest, police began to circle. Erin's behavior raised eyebrows. She told police she didn't realize the mushrooms were toxic. She claimed to have no idea what went wrong. And perhaps most suspiciously, she admitted to throwing away a food dehydrator shortly after the deaths. Investigators believe that a dehydrator may have been used to prepare the mushrooms, essentially destroying key evidence. "We are treating this as suspicious due to inconsistencies in the accused timeline," one detective told reporters. Erin later admitted to discarding the dehydrator out of fear it would look bad. But by then it was too late. Further investigation turned up disturbing digital evidence. Just days before the deadly lunch, Erin had texted Simon, her estranged husband, begging him to attend. She mentioned spending a small fortune on beef and preparing something special. "I've gone to a lot of trouble for this," she wrote. "It would mean a lot to me if you came." But Simon didn't show up. He would later tell police that he found the invitation suspicious, especially after the cancer lie. That decision may have saved his life. On April 29, 2025, Erin Patterson walked into the courtroom in Morwell, Victoria, and pleaded not guilty to 3 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. The courtroom was packed. Public interest in the case had exploded. Was she a grieving relative caught in a terrible accident? Or a cold, calculating killer? The prosecution's argument was clear. This was no accident. They said Erin deliberately poisoned the meal using death cap mushrooms, fully aware of their lethality. They alleged she had motive, revenge and resentment over her failed marriage and strained family ties. This was a targeted act, the lead prosecutor declared. She knew what she was doing. But the defense painted a different picture. They argued Erin had no criminal history, no history of violence. They claimed she was devastated by the deaths and had no motive to kill people she once loved. This was a terrible, unforeseeable tragedy, her lawyer said. It is not a crime to make a mistake. In a dramatic moment, Erin herself spoke softly in court. I didn't mean for anyone to die. I'm devastated. I loved them. I would never hurt them. The media dubbed it, the Mushroom Murders. The public was captivated. Every move Erin made, every facial expression, every change in her story, was dissected on TV and social media. Some called her a victim of circumstance. Others called her a monster hiding in plain sight. Public opinion remained split. One viral comment read, "Too many coincidences. This was no accident." Another said, "She lost people she cared about. Why would she risk it all?" Experts weighed in too. One psychologist, speaking on national radio, suggested that Erin may exhibit patterns of manipulative behavior, particularly pointing to the alleged cancer lie used to lure Simon. Using illness as emotional leverage is not uncommon in certain personality disorders, they said, but it's not proof of homicidal intent. Still, combined with the evidence, the deception, the digital trail, and the disposal of the dehydrator, it painted a chilling picture. Despite weeks of investigation, the case still holds disturbing questions with no answers. Why did Erin suffer only mild symptoms if she ate the same meal? Why dispose of the dehydrator if she had nothing to hide? Could someone else have tampered with the food? And most hauntingly, was this all a horrifying mistake? As of May 2025, the trial is underway in Victoria's Supreme Court. Erin remains out on bail under strict conditions. Court testimony is ongoing. The trial is expected to last up to 6 weeks. Judge Michael McGrath, presiding over the case, issued a public statement urging patience. This is a matter of grave consequence. We owe it to the victims, and to the accused, to weigh the evidence carefully and without prejudice. 3 people are dead. A 4th clings to life. And at the center of it all is a woman whose fate now lies in the hands of 12 jurors. Is Erin Patterson a grieving daughter-in-law? Or a silent killer who used one of the most ancient poisons known to man to settle a family score? Only time and the court will decide. But one thing's certain. This was no ordinary lunch. What do you think happened that day in Leongatha? Was it murder? Or a deadly misunderstanding? Drop your theories in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss part 2 when the verdict finally comes in.